Hi guys, it's Tara, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made Haruka's Parasol Cider outfit from Project Sakai. This video is in no way a tutorial for how to make her costume. I've only been sewing for like a year and a half now, so do not take this as a how-to. I'm just showing my process and how I went about it, so let's get on with the video.
Okay, the first thing I'm going to do with this costume is the whole belt section. We're going to actually start with the belt portion, then move on to the bow. I've already done the pattern. It's just a strip of fabric. I want the belt to be 3 inches wide, so I just cut an inch long strip with my waist measurement. And then we're just going to cut out 2 strips in each color, and then we will be back to put them together. So I finished cutting out the strips of fabric. There is 2 in each color, and now we're just gonna sew along the edges to attach all of them, and we'll come back, see how it looks all together, and go from there. I have finished the belt. She's all sewn together, and I am going to try it on. I have these metal rings for different parts of the costume, and one of them is on the belt. So we're going to kind of get that situated. The fabric I'm using for this whole costume is all stretchy, so the belt has stretch to it, obviously. So I think I'm not gonna add any like snaps or Velcro, but we'll see how easy it is to get on when we pin it and everything. So we're gonna go do that and we'll come back. Okay, so I finished the belt. This is kind of what we're working with. I just sewed the fabric, like folded it and sewed it down, and then that is when I added the little gold ring. These I just got off of Amazon. And then the bow is just gonna attach down here. I'm going to attach it with snaps. We have some more stripes and panels and things like this to sew, but that's why I'm doing it first, because it is time consuming. We just have the bow and then that dangle piece of shells, which I have an idea of how I'm gonna do, but we will figure that out later. Okay, the next part of the costume that I'm working on is the bow. Put a picture here. How I'm gonna do this, because it is the stripes again, I have the pieces, the pattern. I'm gonna be doing a loop bow. So you cut out a pattern like this and then just fold it in half to make the loop. I drew some lines and I'm gonna cut these into pieces. I also did for like the tails of the bow, and then I'm just gonna tape those onto other pieces of paper to add some seam allowance so it doesn't get smaller. Okay, here are the finished cut out bow pieces. I also cut out some interfacing because it's good to do that with bows, just so that they don't like droop or anything, just so they have structure. So I have cut out 2 pieces for these, and then because there's 2 parts to like the loop bow, you have both sides, there's 4 of all of these pieces cut out, and then 2 full size pieces, which I will cut these after I put these 3 together, just so, because this will end up bigger.
So this is what the finished bow ended up looking like. As you can see, I glued some pearls onto the tails of the bow. Then it hooks around the belt with some snaps, so I can easily take it on and off for storage, as well as in prejudging. They can get a better look at that. The next part we're going to be working on is the chain that connects to the bow. So for this chain piece, all of the charms were done with foam clay, and I was just using the bottom of a paintbrush and dipping it in water to do all of the details, as well as smooth everything out as I went. I waited for all the pieces to fully dry before I sanded everything, as well as before I painted everything and connected those wire pieces that would hold everything together.
Okay, so the next part of the costume we're going to be moving on to is the top. I am starting with the sleeves just to ease myself into doing the top. So I've already done one. This is what it looks like. The top, I just have some lace sewn into the top and then elastic, obviously, so it can stay on my arm. And then the hem, I just used this light blue bias tape. So this is what one looks like, and we are going to do the other, and we'll be right back. Okay, I have finished both of the sleeves now. Here is what they look like. I think they turned out super cute. So next we're gonna work on the top, and I'm gonna be doing a tape pattern for that, just on my mannequin. But I'm super happy with how these turned out, and it seems like they're gonna stay up thanks to the elastic. So I hopefully won't have to like tape them down or anything with like fashion tape when wearing the full thing. But yeah. And I also wanted to mention that I chose to do a French seam with this this piece just because it was chiffon and thought it was the nicer way to finish it. So yeah, they are done and we are ready to move on.
So, we're back working on a different part of Haruka's costume. So, earlier in the video, we worked on all of these foam pieces. They're finally dry, and I'm working on putting them together. I'll do a close-up picture of kind of like what that whole chain of charms and shells look like. So, let's go through all the pieces. We have the main part of the shell. Then we have the 3-leaf clover, and then this little pearl thing at the bottom. And to put these all together, it took me a while to figure out how I wanted to do this, but I decided to go with wire and hot glue. So I have this gold wire. You can get it at like Michael's, Hobby Lobby, whatever. And then I've made these connecting pieces. This is the one that connects to the shell. I just put a little gold bead on there. And then I have a necklace clasp at the top so that I haven't added it to the bow yet, but how I plan to attach this, I plan on putting like a little gold jewelry ring thing and sew that here so that it could clip on and then you'll see it. So I've already gone ahead and added all of the holes to the pieces, and I'll show with this. So this top hole is going to be used for the beads, and I just used a toothpick to just, create the hole. So it'll kind of slot in like that. I will hot glue all of these wires into the hole just so it's more secure. But that is kind of what we're looking like. I'm going to just go ahead and carefully put in all the other gold pieces just to get the full image. And then we will hot glue it all together. And I'm hoping this works. I think it will. I thought of this idea of how to do this right before I went to bed one night, so. Okay, we've put all of it together. So this is kind of what we're looking at. I will be dancing in this costume, so that's why it took me so long to figure out even how to do this, because it needed to hold up while I was throwing myself around on stage. Kidding. The choreo isn't that crazy, but. And to get a visual with the bow, that's kind of what it'll look like. We have some more updates on Haruka's costume. So this is what we have. I think it looks so cute. Everything is just painted with gold paint. And then this bottom pearl it's like the pearlescent kind of acrylic paint. And I did a few layers for each piece. And then it connects with a a gold loop. Can't really see it, but there's like, I did 2 gold loops so it's more secure, and then it just clips into place with that necklace hook. And I think it turned out super cute. I like the proportions of everything. And it looks a lot sparklier in person. I am going to start next on Haruka's top. Very simple top. I was going to film how to do the pattern, but I just did saran wrap and masking tape. I'll put pictures up here, but I've gone ahead and just transferred them onto paper, added the seam allowance. This is probably like the smallest pattern pieces I've had to work with. They are pretty small, but I went ahead and did the lining. So this is kind of how it's looking, and it is looking good. So we're gonna cut out the outside, all the blues and stuff like that. I also, how I'm gonna close it, I was originally not gonna close it and just get into the top, like put it on overhead, that kind of thing, but that might be a little hard and I don't want to like strain the seams even though it is stretchy fabric. So I looked up bra extenders that you can sew in yourself. I have to open it. But I was lucky enough to find these on Amazon. It's a pack of 4, and they came in the colors of my fabric. I'll probably be using this one and this one just so that it matches the fabric. And there's a side for hooks, and then there's eyes on this side. So I'm super happy I found these. This is how I'm going to easily get the top on and off, just so it's not a hassle. Now I'm going to show the top. This is what we have right now. We still have to add, there's ruffles on the bottom, but we added the gold ring, and the only thing I need to do is, yes, the ruffles, but then there's like a bias tape band on the bottom. I have this piece of bias tape already sewn in, but I didn't realize it went over the bias tape that's along the bottom. So I think I'm gonna unpick this and then do the bottom one and just wrap bias tape around the center and hand sew it to secure it in the back. But other than that, the top is nearly done. And I think it's looking so cute. This is what the bra extenders kind of looked like. Here's the light blue one and the dark blue. So we're gonna finish the top. Just wanted to give a little update though. That's where we're at. Okay, so the next thing we're working on for the costume, now that the top is done, obviously the shorts. So I have a pattern already. Well, not like a full pattern, but just like the front and back seam, I have kind of already figured out, and then I just gotta like adjust and measure how wide I want the legs and where I want it to sit on my waist. I am going to measure a little bit below my belly button because that's kind of where I want it to sit. So we're going to measure that. And I want it to be a little bit loose on the legs, so like not super tight. And then we will add those measurements. And I think I might also cut out the pieces as well just to have those set. So before I cut out the pattern and the pieces, I just want to explain it because it took me a little bit to figure out. Her shorts have, I'll put a picture here, they're color blocked like the top. And so with like a pattern, but this is the front seam, this is the back seam. I kind of just eyeballed where I wanted the different fabrics to start and end. So I measured 3 inches from the front and back seam. These are going to be the solid blue. So I have to cut out 4 because this is just one leg. Then this is going to be the plaid fabric, and I have to cut out 2 in this, and then I'm cutting out 2 of everything in my lining fabric. And I want the shorts to be a little on the short end, but the ruffles that'll go along the edge will make them a little longer. But that's kind of what we got going on. So I'm gonna go cut out the fabric. I have them right there. So we'll cut that out and then we'll come back. Hey guys, we have an update on the shorts. I did a little bit. I am so bad at filming, so I keep forgetting. But this is what we've done with the shorts. We added this centerpiece. Let me just move that down. We added the centerpiece that's on the shorts. You've seen the lining, so that's going to be added. And I'm about to do the ruffles. We have the strings for the sides of the shorts. But I think they're looking super cute. I'm also gonna add, like, where the plaid starts and ends, I'm gonna add some elastic just to, like, cinch it in even just a tiny bit more. So do that on each side. But I think they're super cute. So I can't wait to see what they're gonna look like when they're finished. I plan on finishing them today. So I guess we should get started.
Okay, big jump. I know I suck at filming, but this is what the shorts looked like all done. Added the ruffles at the bottom, as you can see, and then I hand sewed those buttons as well. And there's two. One is covered by the belt, but I ended up moving that down so that it looked a little bit more like the reference and so that you could see both. But this was like a full try-on of just like the main pieces, and I think it turned out super well. At this point, the only things left that I had to do for the costume were all of the tiny little accessories, because she has a lot on this costume. So that was the bow that went on the top, and then some bracelets and necklaces, and as well as a garter. But this costume is nearly done.
So we have kind of a final update about the costume. I've pretty much finished Haruka's costume, and I have been trying to get it done as fast as possible because as I'm filming this, I am going to Sabo next weekend. It's a Monday currently, and I leave next Wednesday or next Thursday. But I just wanted to show some of the little accessories that I did. We're going to start off with her hair bow. I just did little strips of fabric, and we added a hair clip and some beads on the back. This is the bow that goes on the top. I just did a normal loop bow. I didn't add any interfacing or anything on the loop parts because the bias tape being sewn on would kind of mimic that. And we have the beads sewn onto the back somewhere. And then this heart I did out of foam clay and then just painted it gold. Oh, it attaches with a snap. Then we have the garter. Can't remember. It's this way. You get the idea. Here is the the wrist cuff. I just did this with the plaid fabric, and these bias tape are on the edges. That's the underside. And then there's this little gold piece, or clear piece of elastic. I literally just cut it from like a top, like those hanger clear straps that tops sometimes come with. I literally just cut that and used it so it kind of looks like a cuff. Those are the accessories. There is one more, well, technically two, that go with the hair piece. They're just like a red and a gold kind of clip, but I'm also going to make those out of foam clay, paint them, and then just glue a bobby pin to the back of them. So you'll see that in the final outfit reveal. But other than that, this costume is done. I'm super excited to wear it to Sabo and compete. And yeah, let's do a full try on. The only thing I don't have on right now is the hair accessories, but I will show them. So here we have the hair clip, and then we have the two other clips. I put the bobby pins on diagonally so that I could cross them like this when they go in, and they'll kind of like secure each other. Here are some of the other accessories. Here's the wrist cuff and the beaded bracelet, as well as these two beaded bracelets. We have the choker and the necklace. Here's a better look at the shorts. I think that everything looks... I also lowered one of the buttons just because the belt was covering the top one before, so I think it looks a lot better. Garter. I'll probably have to fashion tape this so that it doesn't fall during my performance. And obviously the sleeves. We haven't seen these yet, but I think this looks adorable, and I'm super excited to wear this for Sabo's cosplay contest, and it's next week. So here's the final costume. I'll probably also have one more clip of me in the contest or just wearing the full, wig, makeup, and everything. But for now, this is just the try on. That marks the end of the video for how I made Haruka's Parasol Cider outfit. I definitely want to do some more of these in the future. Looking back while editing this video, I realized I didn't show a lot of me actually sewing the pieces of the costume, so that we'll work on that. It was a trial and error, so but I've already started gathering materials and fun things for my next project, so there will be another video. There will be. Trust. It is Love Live. I'll say that. And it's very popular Love Live set or costume, whatever you want to call it. And I'm super excited. It's definitely a dream cosplay. So, I'm so excited, and that will definitely be a video. But thank you guys for watching, and bye!